Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss book 1 in the Heroes of Olympus book series, The Lost Hero. This is by Rick Riordan. This came out in 2010. This is 557 pages long. Thick book. But I read it really quick because it goes so fast. Now, this is the sequel series to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books. The Last Olympian, which is the 5th book in the Percy Jackson books, ends on Percy's birthday. August 18th is Percy's birthday. And this story starts a few days before the winter solstice, which is December 21st of the same year. So September, October, November, December. So 4 months since the last hero, right? Okay. But in between that, we had the Demigods versus Magicians, final book or something like that. But for this purpose, it is 4 months since the last Olympian had ended. So the Titan War is ended. Manhattan is good. Demigods are being claimed by their parents. So how did these new characters fit into the Percyverse, or the Half-Blood Chronicles, as we have been so told? Now, what's interesting is how it's put together. So we start out on a field trip at, in Colorado? Is that where we are? At the Grand Canyon, something like that. And Jason Grace, and we don't know his last name is Grace until kind of the middle of the book, but Jason Grace wakes up in a purple t-shirt and jeans on a school bus, and he's holding the hand of this girl who claims to be his girlfriend. Her name is Piper, and his apparent best friend Leo is sitting next to him, and then they have this, Coach Hedge chaperoning the trip, who's like shocked to see him, and Jason is shocked to see him because he knows he doesn't belong, but everybody else remembers him, and it's confusing. So while they're on the sky bridge of the Grand Canyon, they're attacked by these Venti, or these wind spirits. Coach Hedge is taken away, and then things happen, and our heroes are then have to be ushered to Camp Half-Blood on Long Island. So while they're on Long Island, while they're in Camp Half-Blood, right, which is the camp for Greek demigods, they're trying to figure out what just happened. How did they wind up all the way across the country, things of that nature. And so they're talking to Chiron, the centaur who's in charge of camp. They meet Annabeth Chase. They're going over different things. Leo gets claimed as a son of Hephaestus, and Piper eventually gets claimed by Aphrodite. So there's, conflicts with the Aphrodite cabin, and there's cheers from the Hephaestus cabin. And Jason refers to the gods and goddesses by their Roman names, not their Greek names. And then it's been shown that since he can control the winds and he has lightning powers, that he's obviously a son of Zeus. But he references Zeus as Jupiter, which is a Roman form. So they're trying to figure out why Jason speaks Latin, first of all, because he knows the great prophecy in Latin, not Greek or English, as Rachel Elizabeth Dare has shared with us numerous times, and she's in this as well. So Annabeth is going crazy because Percy's been missing for many days. And Annabeth and a kid from, who's his mom? It's the god of rainbows, Iris, right? They come to the Grand Canyon to usher the kids back to Camp Half-Blood. But Annabeth got a prophecy that, the answer to your problems, or the answer within, lies with the kid with one shoe, or something like that. And Jason happened to only have one shoe by the time that they came across them, because lightning, shot the other shoe off. So that's how they all got back to Camp Half-Blood. But they're trying to figure out where Percy is, and why is this new guy, Jason, only referencing Roman stuff, not Greek stuff, but he can't remember anything. Can't remember his last name, can't remember anything. Piper's convinced that she's his boyfriend, when in actuality it was the mist just controlling everything. So it's a little strange. We get backstory on Piper, we get backstory on Leo, we get backstory on Jason as his memory starts to come about. But the prophecy for these three is that they have to go save Hera. That Olympus has been closed through the work of Mother Earth, Gaia, G-A-E-A. She is reawakening, and she wants revenge now on the gods. That the Titans were trying to get revenge on the gods in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books, but now Gaia and the rest of her brood, the giants, are trying to get revenge now on the gods, because it's their turn. So Gaia and Uranus, who's the sky, were born from chaos, And they birthed, first round was Cyclops, second round was Giants, third round was Titans, and the Titans birthed the gods, and the gods destroyed everybody. And then the gods bore minor gods and goddesses, and then demigods respectively. There's your family tree. Okay. So while this is happening, the three heroes have to figure out how the hell to find Hera. And while this is happening, Piper's dad, Tristan McLean, who's a famous movie star, has been taken by a giant himself. Leo finds this bronze dragon, who he names Festus. We got our boy Festus right here. He's awesome. In Bunker 9, which is this, like, abandoned, like, bunker, basically, from a war that took place in 1864. And we know that because there's a military map in there. And no one speaks of that bunker ever since, and Festus has been running amok in the woods ever since Charlie Beckendorf found him in a short story in one of the, like, Demigod Diaries or Demigod Files, one of those books. Charlie Beckendorf, rest in peace, found Festus in there, and we have Festus as a, you know, character, not a protagonist, but the main source of flying, let's put it that way, after Leo fixes him up. So Leo, Piper, and Jason are on a quest to find Piper's dad, who she doesn't reveal immediately, and to find Hera, but try to gain back Jason's memory. So they go to Quebec, talk to, what's his name? Boreanaz, one of the wind gods. They meet his daughter, the goddess of snow, Keone, something like that. And then they're fighting with, what is it? There's Cyclops in Detroit. There's Medea in Chicago. There's Midas and his son, Tiresias. I can never say his name. Lit, as they call him, in Omaha. And Lit we see again in Trials of Apollo. And we love Lit. We love our Lit. Even though he's got very little... He's got a horrible backstory, but we love our Lit moving forward. We then go from, what? Nebraska to... I think we're in Colorado for a bit. And then we're in... pretty much the Bay Area of California. So we're in the San Francisco Bay Area for a long time. Different mountain ranges and things like that. We confront... there's wolves. There's a wolf house. We're introduced to Lupa. We're introduced to Lycaon and his sons. And that's where the original, like, werewolf mythology comes from, Roman-wise. What else? Lupa is the mother wolf. She trains the Roman pups to see if they're worthy enough to join the Roman Legion. And we're getting these little memories of Jason coming back as the story progresses, realizing that he's Roman, realizing that he is a Roman thing. But in the process, he's discovering that Talia is his sister. We meet Talia and the hunters of Artemis. Who are we fighting? We're fighting someone. We're fighting in the woods. We're fighting a giant in the woods. There's a giant in the woods. Sorry, I'm thinking of Into the Woods now. Wouldn't that be fun to have this as a musical? The Lightning Thief is a musical. It'd be fun to have the other stuff as musicals. Who knows? So we're fighting giants. We're fighting Keone again because she herself, the goddess of snow, turns out to have been working with Medea and Gaia this entire time to trap Hera to make sure that the giant Porphyrion, or however you say his name, who's like the favored giant son of Gaia and Uranus, will then inherit the earth. He will destroy Olympus and things of that nature. So we're on Mount Orthos. We're at Mount Diablo. We're fighting people, and, you know, the fighting ends at some various points. Everyone, you know, who escapes can escape. Leo with his fire powers, Jason with his lightning powers, Piper with her charm speaking. It's pretty awesome to be a child of Aphrodite and convince people they want to do something because you can tell them they want to do something. Charm speak. It's a subtle way of dominance in voice. Good times. So a very persuasive way of talking. Yeah, there we go. So we save Tristan. We have the main giant going back into the earth. Mother Gaia is you know, going back to sleep for the time being, so that way the demigods can go back to Camp Half-Blood after Hera sends them back there. Coach Hedges is alive and well again. Tempest, the storm spirit horse, kind of makes friends with Jason. We see him moving forward. Coach Hedge goes back with Tristan McLean back to LA to become his new personal assistant, because his personal assistant Jane was being convinced by Medea, who's working with Gaia, to create the drama for Piper. There's a lot of, like, scandalous stuff in this book. Very scandalous stuff. So when we get back to Camp Half-Blood, everyone's reconvening as new camp counselor heads and you know, discussing oracles and prophecies with Rachel and Annabeth and Chiron, and they realize that, and Hera visits again. Hera's all over the place. She's the most seen god in this book, let's put it that way, which is strange, because because she doesn't like heroes. So it's interesting that she is taking a big part in heroes' lives to make sure that the prophecies are fulfilled, the great prophecy is fulfilled. So then Jason and Annabeth are realizing at a head council meeting, we have Will Solis there, we have Travers Stoll there, or was it Connor Stoll? I don't remember, some Stoll brother. Clarice LaRue is there. Everyone's doing their thing. And Jason's really realizing that Hera kept mentioning an exchange, that leaders needed to be exchanged so that way the demigods can unite in order to go to the motherland to face the giants, you know, so that way they don't destroy the original Olympus. And what does that mean? So the Civil War of 1864 wasn't just an American Civil War, it was the demigod Civil War as well. So that meant that the Roman demigods and the Greek demigods were both fighting each other as the mortals were fighting each other. And that because the Romans don't like the Greeks and the Greeks don't like the Romans, blah, blah, blah. So they were always separated, and the gods and goddesses always tried their best to make sure that the two never met. So while there was the Titan War going on for the Battle of Manhattan on the Greek side, because Camp Half-Blood is right there on Long Island, in the Bay Area of San Francisco on the different mountains, Jason and his brood of Roman legionnaires were fighting for that mountain stuff to tumble that Titan location as well. But we didn't talk about that because we didn't really know about that, because the Mist didn't want us to know about that, because the gods didn't want us to know about that. So now is the time that the two come together, that the exchange has been made, so that way everybody can unite, the prophecy of the seven, so the seven can unite to make sure that the giants can be defeated in Greece and all can be right with the world again. So because Jason was brought to the Greek camp, what does that mean? That means Percy, who's missing, was brought to the Roman camp. So now it's a matter of how long will it take for Leo and his Hephaestus brethren and sisterin, I don't know how you say it. How long will it take to put together the Argo 2 ship with Festus's head as the what's the word? The front of the ship. Mast? No, that's the thing in the middle. Masthead? Masthead? I think it's a masthead. Because Festus exploded when they went to Omaha and, you know, fought off against Midas. But Hephaestus brought his head back to Bunker 9 in the woods of Camp Half-Blood. So, like, if Festus is now going to be the masthead of, figurehead, there we go, of the Argo 2, named after the original Jason's ship, the Argo, will the ship get exploded when they visit the Roman camp, whatever the hell it's called and wherever the hell it is, in the Bay Area of California, with Piper, Leo, Jason, and Annabeth on tow of it? So we'll see. We'll see what the next book, The Son of Neptune, brings us. Obviously, that's our boy Percy, who's the son of Poseidon, but Poseidon's Roman form is Neptune. So much more happens in this book series. But this is an incredibly fast read, despite it being 557 pages long, because of how short the chapters are. Now, we're used to reading 20, 30 pages of chapter in Rick Riordan books within the Kane Chronicles and within the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books. These chapters range from 3 to 15 pages long. Short, but quick. And also, you have the three main characters, Piper, Leo, and Jason, all having their own chapters, all having their own perspectives. So it's the story continuing, but from everybody's perspective. That's what's cool about it. Kane Chronicles, you have that same kind of perspective of Sadie and Carter jumping back and forth. In the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books, it's just Percy's perspective, but more of a third person. Percy said this, Percy thought that. And then in these books, it's still Jason said this, Jason said that, but it's Jason said this, Leo said this, Annabeth said this. It's not one singular train of thought. It's three characters getting their own interpretations, getting their own, talking about backstories. Leo's mom dying, Piper with her movie star dad's lifestyle, you know, Jason not remembering a damn thing, and then slowly pieces coming back together with him and Talia's mom and how he was abandoned, and brought to Lupa as a 2-year-old, things like that, right? So very interesting how this is a different take on reading. And I loved it because it's so fast and it's so quick and it's never boring. And I am so happy that there's 30-something books in the Rick Riordan books / Rick Riordan Presents book series, that the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles as a whole is just continuous with gods and goddesses and different mythologies from different places. And that's what makes this special, because no religion is right and no religion is wrong. And that's what's cool about it. Everyone has a different take on the same story. The different details are tweaked, and the Greeks versus Romans is pure example of that. An absolute pure example of that. More books to come, more reading to come, more reviews to come. We can do this. Mucho mahalo.